Hey there, everyone. This is Mystic Fish, and welcome to episode 14 of our Steampunk challenge for Factorio. So we're trying to stick things to burner inserters and some generally low tech. Last episode, we walked through a bunch of math to talk about how we would go about producing green science. And so I think this episode, we are going to see about actually getting some science on hand to do some research. So let's go visit our labs. This is where we're going to need to make these changes, I believe. All the way up here. Right. Oh, I walked past it. Where are we? Where's the map? Oh, the labs are to the northeast. All right, let's get up there. Okay, so here is the lab setup. All right, now let's do some of the same math that we were doing before. So if we take a look, lots of recipes. Some of these are fast, right? 10 seconds, but this one's like 60 seconds. So we can assume that we're going to consume or do sort of one, what's the right way to say this? Right now we're going to do green and red science together, right? So one green and one red science is like a science unit, right? So we'll consume one science unit per 60 seconds per lab. I think what that means is let's move this. Let's have you come back over here. So we can clear some of this stuff out. Actually, I think what I'll do is let's just get rid of this train because I think we'll make a new one. Okay, so let's take a look at a lab. Lab consumes 60 kilowatts. So let's get our calculator. So 60 kilowatts, if it does a 60-second research, but we divide by 1,000 to get megajoules, and then divide by 4 for 4 megajoules per coal, then we can see we need almost 1 coal per science pack. So almost the same amount of coal per science pack. So that's good to know. Just for the power, that is. Then how many inserter swings do we have? We actually just have 1 inserter swing here, right? We're going to go pick up all the ingredients. That's not going to cost us any coal, but then we just have to insert it here. And so each science pack has 1 of each type of science. All right, 1 red, 1 green. So that is 2 swings per science unit consumed. And so we need another 0.4. So this is basically, if we couple that with what we have, the 0.9 we saw before, yeah, this is basically 1 coal per unit of science. Good. So I think what that means that we can just do something like this. Let's see what this train is going to look like. All right. So I believe that means that if we do 1 red science and 1 green science, that is 200 of each. So that's 200 science units or whatever we're calling that, and so we're going to need 200 coal to do those. So we can do and let's see, we may need sort of 1 coal to spruce this, to sort of repopulate this. And let's see, I guess we can get another one of these in here. And another one. And then we can just fill in the rest with coal. Okay, let's see. Maybe we can make this look a little better. Okay. All right, that's what's going to be in our train. Okay, then let's see. How much coal do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 12. And this is 16, so that's 28 stacks of coal, which is 1,400 coal. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do, and I'm going to have you go, we're going to use the green. Let's go use the green coal for this, just because there's more of it. And I think we'll update this. So you're going to go here until you have 14,000 coal. And we want to make sure that your locomotive is full of fuel. Okay. Then let's go get the green science. How much green science are we going to have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is going to be 6 times 200 is 1,200. Okay. So so that will be until we have 12,000, because we have 10 train cars of those. Then we need to go, where is our, let's see, here we go, this one, until we have item count, 12,000 of these. And then we're going to come to the labs, until either we are out of red science or we are out of green science. And then we're going to go back around. Okay. Let's give you some fuel and let's send you on your way. Okay, so we'll see if that, no path. Why would there be no path? Oh, because I built it on the wrong side. Beautiful. Fortunately, that's easy to fix. Okay, I'll clear out this one. All right, give you some fuel. And off you go. Now, I think, let's see. I think we only have 8,000 red or green science sitting in the depot. So that may be stuck waiting. Let's go see where the green science production is at. Because we may not have, we need sort of like 1.5 trains worth of green science to make this work. All right, let's come over here. And let's see where this production is at. All right, yeah, we don't quite have it. Right, and what's in here? Yeah, we said there was 8,000 in here. So what we could do is, why don't we modify this? So let's see, where's that? Where's the lab guys? This one. Okay, so let's change this. We'll just reduce this to, let's just do half. Let's do half. And that should be okay. All right. Good. Where are we at on our research queue? So what else do we want? Let's go ahead and get, this one, we should resume that. We should queue that. Do I not have the research queue on? I don't have the research queue on. Okay. Well, that's okay. We're going to skip the military science. We'll have to go through these. Okay. So, very nice. All right. I think what I'll do is I'll go let's go find that train. We'll go hop on it and we'll do the usual video speed up thing. Let's see, it should be here. Is this it? Is this the science train? This is the science train. Great. So we'll hop on here. We will speed up the old video, and we will be back once we are getting ready to do some science. We appear to have a signaling problem here, so let's go take a look at what's going on. Out. Am I trying to go to the right place? Out. Oh, maybe I need train limit 2. Why can't we go through here? Maybe we are missing. Let's see. All right, we should be coming here. And this is green, which makes this blue. This one's green. I think we were missing a signal here. Oh, it's because the butt of this thing was hanging off the end. All right. Back to riding the train. Okay, we are all full on science and heading over to the labs. Now, I realize we have some red science sitting in the labs. I think that's going to be okay. It just means that we'll run out of green science on the train first, because we'll chew through what's already in the labs. But that's going to be okay. So let's see. If I recall correctly, we can chew through some of this research pretty fast with the number of labs we have. So let's take a look and see how this works. Let's see if we can get the assembly machine 2s unlocked. There we go. Yes, I would say those are proceeding nice and quickly. Cool. All right, so I think what we're gonna do here is let's wait for this research to finish, and let's talk about the research direction that we want to go. I think after this, I want to get steel furnaces because that will also improve our sort of smelting productivity. So let's go ahead and get those. And then I think we're going to proceed towards the things we need to unlock blue science, because that's really the next thing that we need to go do. So I'm going to just, I think, sit here and wait for this research to just pump its way through. And we'll be back shortly. Okay, that is blue science unlocked. And so I think what we can do at this point is we can put these back to where we had them originally, which is 12,000. It may mean that that the train has to sit at the science places till it all the science gets manufactured, but that's okay. Okay, so next, I think we're going to, I've already gotten the factory planner set up for blue science 75. You can see that in some cases, let's see, we've upgraded our furnaces to steel furnaces, so that's good. I guess we can turn all of these into assembly machine 2s. And yeah, so we've got this all planned out. As you can see, one of the things that we're going to introduce here is oil processing. That was one of the things we had to research. And so that'll be the next interesting thing for us to go and design, I think. But in the meantime, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to set up basically, we're not going to do the oil processing yet, but we'll do all the mining, all the smelting, including steel smelting. We'll do the basic intermediate production, including engines. And then I'll come back after we've done that, and we can take a look at the oil processing. So stay tuned for that, and we'll be back shortly. And in the meantime, I'm just going to continue picking off whatever research that I can do here, but since we've got blue science unlocked, the science isn't really blocking us on anything anymore. So, all right, I'll be back with you shortly. We'll do some work off camera. Okay. Hey there, everyone. This is Mystic Fish, and welcome to episode 14 of our playthrough of our Factorio Steampunk challenge, and wanted to get you all updated on what we've been up to here. So I went and built blue science, and so I want to give you sort of a tour of what we did. One of the things I will say, and you'll note, I've got things labeled here. So this whole chunk here, all of these hexes is everything that we need for blue science so far, and it's about the same size as what we needed for red and green, and that's just sort of the nature of the game here as we get more complicated ingredients and so on. However, I think we're generally following a lot of the patterns that we've already seen as far as the design of the stations and so on. I'll come and highlight a few things that are a little different. One of the things that I did do, if you remember last episode, we walked through the math of how many trains do I need, how many stations do I need for manufacturing something, and how do I divide up the slots in the cargo wagons in order to do that. So because I had so many of these to do, I actually ended up writing a little Python script that I could just run locally that would do all that math for me. It's the exact same math as what we outlined there, so there's nothing special there, but I just automated it since I needed to do it so many times. Let's see. What are some of the things that we ran into? So one of the differences with blue science is now we've researched the steel furnaces, and so that helps a little bit because obviously those are going to go faster and they're more fuel efficient. So in particular, we don't need as much dedicated to coal here. One of the interesting things that I found out here was taking a look at the schedule here, you may notice one of the things that I changed here. So ordinarily we would just have the like, hey, when am I done producing stuff? And it's when I've produced as much output as I had for input. And one of the things that I discovered here was, for example, the last 5 iron plates ended up getting, that were maybe in this car, 2 of them ended up here and 3 of them ended up here. And so neither one of the furnaces could actually finish the recipe, and so the train got stuck. So instead I updated things to say basically, hey, if you are going to be full on steel or you run out of inputs, then it's time to go and move on. So that was one update we had to do. Another interesting update that we ran into was, at least with current designs, I found that I could not make the iron plates with steel furnaces, and that's because with the stone furnace, right, the crafting time on an iron plate is 3.2 seconds, and you can kind of get almost a full, almost 2 full swings of a burner inserter in that time. Which means that, like if we go take a look at this, it means that we're able to buffer iron ore here. And so the recipe here gets fixed to making iron plates because there's always iron ore in here. When I went to the steel furnace, then the crafting time here becomes 1.6 seconds, which is actually less than 1 swing of the inserter. And so what I found happened was that eventually what would happen is that the steel furnace could actually drain all the iron ore, and so there was an empty slot here. And sometimes, because there's no filtering on these inserters, the input inserter would grab a finished iron plate and chuck it in here and actually change the recipe to steel. So I actually found for iron I had to keep them stone furnaces, which was kind of interesting. Let's see, what else should we highlight here? Most of the rest of this stuff is pretty straightforward, but and it looks very similar to stuff we did before, but we do have oil processing now. So I think what I'll do is, and this is the other thing I've gotten in the habit of doing, is riding around in a train because it's like that much faster. So let's take a ride up to the oil. We'll talk a little bit about how that works up there. So a lot of it was pretty straightforward. One of the nice things is with the fluid outputs that we have with oil processing, it's a little easier, right? Because like we're allowing ourselves to use pipes, and so we just carry stuff in pipes. So if we so here's the oil field, and so you can see there's tons of pipes going all over. Generally, what I did was obviously we put pump jacks down on all the oil patches here. So step 1 is how am I going to get power to them, and so I distributed steam engines all around so that I could generate power close to the pump jacks here. And then in general, there's sort of 2 oil patches in this hex, right? There's one here, and generally the oil runs up until it hits this sort of main line here. And then same thing over here, the oil runs up until it hits here. I am buffering things into some tanks, and then I have a pump. Mostly the pump is there just marking like here's where the output starts for me. And I had to put a steam engine to power the pump. So that's how it goes. So the biggest thing then is, okay, now I got to get steam down to all these steam engines. And so the main station here, actually this train does nothing but carry coal. And so what I designed here was basically we're going to offload coal. We can use buffers here because it's coal only, so all the burner inserters stay powered. Those are just feeding boilers that are doing nothing but generating steam to sort of route down here to all the steam engines. So that is how we are producing oil. Then the next step is turning it into petroleum gas. And so we have a similar sort of steam-powered generation thing up here going as well. So so that's no different. And then I just have like all the refineries sort of running over here. What I initially had before I checked was it turns out you can, like if I had moved this steam engine over, I could use 2 power poles and actually power 3 refineries with it. However, if you look, a refinery runs at 434 kilowatts, and a steam engine can only produce 900. So one steam engine can actually only power 2 refineries. So I had to rejigger things like that. But otherwise, again, we're generating steam up here, running it down for the steam engines, just doing basic oil processing, collecting things in tanks, and then a steam engine for the pump to send things out. So that's pretty straightforward. Okay, so then sulfur is probably the first one that's next one that's a little different. So now we do have some solid, in this case, outputs, right? The actual sulfur itself are solid outputs. And so this looks a lot like our assembly stations, except we've put chemical plants in instead. And so we just route the petroleum gas and the water in here. We're carrying along the power that we need and just dumping the sulfur out into the waiting wagons. And so as you can see, we just need enough coal for the power and running the burner sorters to sort of power the depot. So that's pretty straightforward. We've got plastic up here, and so another sort of chem plant setup. In this case, there are solid inputs and outputs, so we are using both the input inserter to put the coal in, and then the output inserter to pull the plastic out, and routing the petroleum gas in. But otherwise, this looks pretty much the same as everything else. We've got our red circuit production here. These are slow enough that it turns out you need sort of two trains going across 2 stations to sort of keep up with what we're looking for. But otherwise, pretty straightforward. And then finally, blue science. And so blue science is going to be the bottleneck for the whole system here. So I want to take a look at this. Yeah, okay. So as you can see, we're producing the blue science, putting it in the repo, or depot rather. We haven't fully buffered up very much of this yet, and so we're still waiting for the other sort of blue science trains to get through. By my calculations, in order to maintain the 75 science per minute we're looking for, I need 2 stations and then 3 trains in order to get the utilization up. But then otherwise, that is about it. So we can, let's go take a hop over to the labs, and we'll see what, I guess I'll come there. So it is a ton faster to like actually take the train if you have to go very far, rather than running. So, so that's one of the things I definitely have learned here. Since I didn't allow myself a car, I think if I were to do this again, I might allow for a car. I mean, most of the time the cars are burning coal anyway, so I feel like it's in the right sort of category here. So lab's still working pretty much the same. I was able to do my same math on this and figured out that that basically I could do 4 stacks of each of these 3 sciences, and then I need the rest for powering the labs. And so just to prove that this is working, we can go ahead, research lubricant to show that we've got blue science working. I think I didn't quite get this balanced out. In order just to get it going, even though the sort of full recipe would say, hey, you should be able to pick up 8,000 of each of these. I've only got it at 2, so 1 stack each, but the train already had some in, and so that sort of made it a little wonky. But we got blue science running, folks. And what's kind of interesting here is we are basically, obviously building a mega base at this point. It's a very, very much in the style of a train-based mega base here. But that is okay. We are moving along. Just out of curiosity, we're starting to dip on the UPS a little bit, just below 60, but still doing okay. Let's see. We have 81 trains, 181 stations. So that is quite something. But what's really interesting is, like, even just looking around, there's actually not that much train traffic, which I think is really interesting. Part of that is just sort of due to how slow some of the processing is, but also just the cargo size of these wagons. Most of these wagons are actually the trains are actually just sitting around, like, building stuff most of the time, and so there isn't actually a lot of congestion in the train network, right? We've got, I think out of those 81 trains, we have 1 that's moving, maybe 2. All right, there's 3, but it's not very much, right? And so I don't know, I just find it kind of interesting. But it's giving me some ideas for, as we try to do this, it's giving me some ideas for maybe doing a train-based, a long train-based mega base at some point. So that might be sort of a future series that we do. But otherwise, we are going to make our way towards researching the purple and yellow science. And we will get to building those out here. So I think the episodes are going to get shorter from here out because, or at least from your perspective, it's going to take me a while. But the idea is that, we've actually seen most of the patterns here. I do think that we're going to run into a couple more interesting things. I suspect we're going to end up with one of the things we may need is a hex that is just stackers, where we have enough trains coming through somewhere that we can't actually fit the stacker itself into the hex with, where we're trying to go. So that may be something that we see. Obviously, we'll get the advanced oil processing going as we get to purple and yellow science, because we'll need those. For the lubricant, for the electric engines, and then eventually, making rocket fuel for the rocket. And I'm kind of inclined at this point to actually go enough that and actually automate space science too. I think I'll go all the way. Might as well, as long as we're going this way. I think I'm going to go all the way to space science, and then see if we can show the base running at a steady 75 science per minute. Because, I feel like that would be a pretty good accomplishment, and we'd have pretty much explored all there was to explore with this particular scenario. But that will be a problem for future Mystic Fish, as we like to say. So, as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, and until then, bye.